Hey, house guests, I'm Andrea Chu.
And I'm David Belleville.
And we're here to talk Big Brother.
Woo!
All right, so that was actually my Halloween costume, my Cirie and Felicia in the kayak Halloween costume that I wore.
Iconic, 10 out of 10. You nailed it.
Thank you so much.
And if I'm not mistaken, a Big Brother house guest from this season saw this Halloween costume.
Yes.
Spill the beans.
Cirie Fields himself commented on the picture of the costume that I posted. I'll show it here. Yeah, so it's safe to say that I'm like one step closer to becoming part of the Fields family.
Yes, you're just about there.
Cool. Yeah, and sadly, my queen Cirie has fallen.
I know this is an ironic week to be doing this because she's no longer in the house, and mother and son couldn't get it done.
Wow, that was good.
That was good.
That was good.
I'll trademark that.
I know, but we will go over the events that led up to her eviction, what happened this week. There were a few glimmers of hope for her.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, in the sort of skee ball game that they played.
Yep.
She was actually pretty good at it, but that was a game where it was easy to gang up on people. So that's ultimately what happened.
It would have been wiser for her and Felicia to be working together, since it was clear from the get-go that Cirie was the boys' target. And so that would have been a good opportunity for her and Felicia to get back on the same page. They've been up and down all season in terms of their relationship goes. And ultimately, for that competition, they really would have benefited from teaming up.
Yeah. She did crack me up, though, because Matt ended up winning. But she was like, wow, Matt is an Olympian and Jag has won 75 competitions. And it took both of them to get out a grandmother. That's what she said.
They had to gang up on her.
Amazing.
Which, I loved that competition.
Yeah, it was fun.
I thought it was a fun game to watch, but also I loved the added element of them having to call each other out.
Yes.
Because who doesn't love a little bit of drama? And that's what that game brought.
Yeah, you couldn't hide at all. Like, you had to say who you were aiming for.
Yeah, that was a great game.
So Matt wins HOH, and when he goes up to his room, something interesting happened, which was there was a photo of his mom and Riley.
Oh, yeah, Riley.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a while, girl. How are you?
Yeah, that was a little weird to me, I have to say. Just because I guess they had like a cutie little crush, but like they did know each other for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was like only 2 weeks that she was in the house, I think.
Yeah, so it was a little weird to me. And like she wrote his letter, which I thought was odd. The family didn't want to say hi to him or tell him something that it came from Riley, who he barely knows. I was like, I don't love this.
We got to know the story of how Riley met Matt's mom. Like and something tells me that Matt's mom was just trying to play matchmaker here or something like that. Like I just don't know how they find each other outside of the
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be cute. It wasn't really cute to me.
Well, who knows? Maybe there's wedding bells in the future. It wouldn't be the first BB romance.
That's true. That's true. But Matt is in this power position now.
Yeah.
Where he has to draw a line in the sand. He's been loyal to Cirie. He's obviously been the most loyal to Jag, but he has to decide who he's going with, basically. He has deals with every single person.
Right.
And he decides he's going to tell Cirie she's a pawn, but ultimately nominate her and Felicia, even though he said he would never nominate Cirie.
Yeah, this came down to a situation where Jag ultimately had the power and could call the shots, but Matt had a real, genuine relationship and alliance with Cirie throughout this game, even going back to the days when Jared was still in this house. And so Matt found himself in a really tricky situation that he had to walk on eggshells for, and it was unfortunate for Cirie that he stuck with Jag's wishes and she's out of the house.
I know. We'll see if it ends up working out for him. We're going to go over that a little bit later, kind of analyze his jury management and whatnot. But as for the climate in the house, this kind of created even more of a divide where it was like the mamas and then the, self-proclaimed mafia, which was Matt, Jag, and Bowie.
Yeah.
Gameplay-wise, whatever. But to me, it got a little personal at times. Like, up in that HOH room, those three were just letting the power get to their head and kind of like taking personal jabs at Cirie and Felicia at times, it seemed. And like they, a little bit of this is from the live feed, so not all of it was shown on the actual show, but they hid the wine that they win for being HOH. They kind of hid that from Cirie and Felicia. And
that's never good when you're messing with the mama's wine. Don't do that.
Exactly.
You don't do that.
And they were kind of scheming up in that room. Like Bowie Jane suggested, like, oh, we should really try to crack Felicia. Like, we should make her really paranoid that she's going home. So we should hang out with Cirie and make her super paranoid so she doesn't sleep. And that way she's like not sharp for the competition on Thursday. That to me felt a little like below the belt. Like, you know, it's game. We have to nominate people. I think everyone understands that, but I felt like it didn't need to be personal, and they didn't need to like not hang out with the two of them all week just because of it.
Yeah, especially when you make it that far into the game and there's only a handful of players left. You know, you should be forming bonds, very close bonds, because there's nowhere to go. You're all trapped in this house. You've been together for 90 something days at this point anyways, so it is unfortunate to see any type of negative gameplay like that, especially this far in the game. Just play the game and leave the personal stuff out of it.
Yeah, I was not loving this dynamic. Especially Bowie Jane was acting like she was like as deserving as Matt and Jag, which in my opinion, she has not done as much as them. So for her to be like, yep, the three of us just deserve to be here, deserve to have all this power. And the two of them, Cirie and Felicia, have done nothing. Like, I didn't love that attitude, didn't love the vibes. Not good.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I totally see your point.
But we have that like swamp monster veto, which actually looked kind of like interesting. It looked really hard.
Yeah, it was a good week of comps. It looked really hard.
Like to stack those discs in the water without them falling over.
At one point, I couldn't tell if my TV was broken or if Bowie was just frozen in the little swamp, because she was so at a standstill trying to make sure she wasn't making any waves, and that provided a pretty funny moment.
I think Cirie was like, you can go a little faster.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was Bowie Jane playing her way.
Yeah. And Jag wins.
Surprise, surprise.
No shocker there, per usual. And he keeps the nominations the same, which obviously, you know, everything was going his way this week. So why would he shake it up at all? No one even tried to campaign. They just knew.
Right.
They knew. Something that was kind of weird, though, that to me was a show of weak gameplay, was that this was Jag's idea, I believe, but Bowie and Matt agreed with it, which was, we're going to tell both Cirie and Felicia that they're the pawns.
Right.
And then we'll blindside Cirie come eviction night. You can't really blindside Cirie. She knows what's happening, like, at all times.
Yeah, so her senses are unparalleled.
Yeah, and I'm like, what is the point? To me, the point of a blindside is to make it so that the person who's nominated doesn't have a chance to game their way out of the position that they're in.
Right.
They were kind of stuck in this position, so you might as well just tell her what's going on to try to, you know, salvage that relationship rather than like just not tell her up until the day. I thought that was really weak and weird.
Yeah, it was unnecessary. That's without question, especially because other than strict gameplay, Cirie hasn't had or a bad relationship or done anything to anyone to deserve any type of like negative or nasty treatment. She's been a very fun house guest to watch. She seems to, you know, care about the relationships she forms, however strategic they may be for her game, but nothing to the point where they need to textbook blindside her.
No.
I didn't understand that either. And I believe that, you know, give credit where credit is due. Jag has put together a historic resume. One of the best BB players in recent memory.
Yeah.
However, it seems like he's starting to let all of that winning and power get to his head to make comments like that when it's really not necessary. Felicia or Cirie are going home. their fate is sealed.
Yeah.
So why not just let them down easy at this point?
Yeah, they were definitely feeling too comfortable up there, scheming for no reason. I didn't like it. Jag made some comment. He really thought he pulled a fast one, which was Cirie went up to Jag and was like, I won't beg you or ask you again after this, but do I have your vote come eviction night? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And then afterwards, he was telling Bowie Jane, he was like, I told her she had my vote, but I didn't tell her what kind of vote. It was, a vote to evict her. I'm like,
Yeah, sweet verbal gymnastics.
Got her. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I was like, you're not as clever as you think you are.
Well, especially this late in the game, too. It's hard to blindside anybody, even if that is your ultimate goal, because there's so few players that it's not like you have 15 people and any one of them could be going up on the block as a replacement nom. Like, at this point, like, there's one of 3 people who are going to go home, so you don't. Blindsides are really hard to pull off when the numbers are this small.
Yeah, it wasn't a blindside.
It wasn't a blindside. She knew. Mm-hmm. She knew.
Some little interesting gameplay moves that Felicia made were that, I don't know, I think this was like self-serving of her, but I don't think it was a bad move, which was that she noticed that Jag and Bowie were kind of like hanging out a lot. She went up to Matt and was like, just so you know, Jag and Bowie look really close, and they've kind of made a few comments about you. I don't know if you've heard them, but they seem close. This got lost in translation by the time it made it back to Jag and Bowie. They were like, what is she talking about? We didn't make any comments. So it was tricky. Like,
I honestly think you're being too lost in translation is too gentle of a term, because I personally think that Felicia's main goal was to paint Jag and Bowie as mean or like bullies in this situation. Even saying at one point, like, we're listening for you, when Matt made a comment like, well, I can't hear them. Mm-hmm. So, that was based off of Felicia's track record, very on brand for her. Her mouth has gotten her in trouble time and time again. And this is a situation where strategically I can understand wanting to throw a wedge in between Matt and Jag at this point and make Jag realize, like, hey, I'm your better final 2 buddy. Mm-hmm. But I just don't think she executed the way that she was hoping for. And again, painting someone in the light that, at least it appeared to me, how she was trying to paint them wasn't reality.
No, but I will say it wasn't entirely fabricated. Like, Jag and Bowie do have a final 2. Jag has made it very clear to Bowie, I hope it's us in the end, you and me. Meaning that Jag is willing to take a shot at Matt when the time comes, which could end up hurting Matt in the end, because Matt had the opportunity to get Jag out, and he did not. So it wasn't. It was rooted in truth. It wasn't like Felicia made something up entirely. And I do think it is smart for Matt to have that on his radar, but it kind of just was pointless, because Matt was like, why is she making things up? Like, that's not the truth.
Well, and unfortunate for Matt and Felicia in that scenario, Matt didn't really have, at that point, any action to take. Even if, like, he was really fired up about this and wanted to do something about it, he was in a powerless position with that information. That's not to say that it's not going to come into play later, but in that very moment, there was nothing he could even really do about it.
That's true. It was kind of too little too late at that point. He couldn't change the nominations.
If only Felicia was just trying to secure her spot in the house, I could see that being her goal there.
Yeah. So then we have another memory HOH competition, which was like a Chenbot.
Love it.
Comic book, which was fun. I don't know, was it blurry to you when you were watching it?
Okay. It was hard for me to read the actual.
I couldn't tell if it was my TV or what, but I'm like, I can't see anything, so we'll just see how it goes.
It's hard to play along.
Yeah, I was really rooting for Felicia. I'm like, this would be amazing if things just like flipped upside down and she won. It's not what happened. Bowie Jane won.
Still pretty unexpected. This is her 3rd HOH of the season where she won in a math tiebreaker.
Yeah.
They've all come via the ridiculous tiebreaker that Big Brother does. And I think that's just kind of wild in of itself that that's how you win all 3 of your competitions.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Yeah. The interesting thing about Bowie is that she's now won 3 HOHs, but I still think she's done nothing because each time she's been in power, she's really just listened to what other people have told her. Like, she has the power to make the moves, but other people are driving the ship always. She has not had an original thought in this house.
I totally agree. She has not came to the plate with the game plan. She just shows up to the plate and swings.
Exactly.
And sometimes she'll hit a home run. She got Cameron out. Other times it's a swing and a miss going after America and Blue when you had bigger targets. Or excuse me, who did she get out? America? Getting out America when there were bigger targets in the house. So now she's faced with a situation where she can either stay loyal to her final 3 with Matt and Jag, which would be detrimental to her game, or try to get one of them out before finale night.
Yeah.
So we'll see what she decides to do.
Yeah. Should we want to kind of go through each player to see like what their potential path to the end could be? So let's start with Felicia.
Okay, let's do it. What are your thoughts?
So at this point in time, it would be very, very difficult for Felicia to win. Yeah. However, if someone decides to keep her around, like if Bowie, who's currently HOH, decides to keep Felicia around and Felicia somehow makes it into those final 2 seats, depending on who she's sitting next to, I think she could actually have a chance because her girl, Cirie, is now in the jury house.
Yeah.
And Cirie is a persuasive person. We know this. She knows how to influence people. She said she would try to really like rally the troops in the jury house. So like if Felicia ends up sitting in one of those final 2 seats, I think Cirie could kind of help her on the other end to get people to vote for her.
I agree that if anybody is going to be in your corner campaigning for you, I would pick Cirie every day. But at this point, what type of ammunition does she have? Because, Felicia has 1 competition win all season long. And yes, she did try to play this game. She wasn't just in the background letting the game play out. She did try to make her mark on the house. She tried to stir the pot when she saw the need to. She tried to share information for better or for worse when she saw the need to. So she definitely wasn't like a hide into the background type of player. Still, though, she didn't win throughout the season. So it's hard to really develop a resume when you're not winning. Yeah. And if you don't have the strategic game to fall back on, then you've really got nothing. I don't want to say she didn't have a strategy because I think she did. I just don't know how impactful that will be for her in a final 2 situation. Regardless, she has been a wildly fun player to watch.
I love her.
I think she's got a fantastic chance at winning America's Favorite House Guest this year. CBS did an amazing job casting her. She was just so funny. She had so many moments. Easily the most entertaining player of the season.
Agreed. And I do think her reveal. So something I'm looking forward to, my favorite element of the season was when everyone found out that Cirie and Jared are mother and son. When Felicia finds this out, her world is going to be rocked.
Yeah.
Because she developed her own relationship with Jared and is close with him in her own right. So for her to find out like her 2 besties are related, like that's going to blow her mind. And I cannot wait for her to find out.
My first thought goes back to when Felicia tried to recruit Jared as a final 2 and even said something to the effect of like, I think that we've got like a mother and son dynamic. And it's like, oh, you're not greater than Cirie and Jared. But yeah, that's going to be an exciting reveal. Just that alone is enough to tune into finale night. All of the grand reveal.
Exactly. Now we move on to Bowie Jane.
The HOH.
Something crazy is that she now has 3 HOHs under her belt, but I would argue that even someone like Felicia has done more than her in the game.
I think that is a valid argument. I think when it's on paper and you compare Felicia's game to Bowie Jane's game, Bowie Jane looks like the clear-cut winner. But she just never had original strategies and was just so reliant on the players around her and the way the wind was blowing that I just was extremely disappointed by the lack of gameplay on her part this year. For a contestant, I was excited to watch play this game.
Yeah, I think a lot of the issues that most of the house guests had this year was they had this amazing strategy, but they were never able to win, so they couldn't execute.
Yeah.
Like America was so looking forward to really making all these plans happen, but she could never win.
Right.
Bowie had the opposite problem. She's won a few competitions, but had no strategy, no plan. So she won and then was still a follower to her core. She never really seized that power. And I think to me, that's not deserving of a win.
No, that's really well said. I like the America Bowie Jane comparison there. It will be interesting to see if she's in the final two, how she makes her case to the house guests and how she answers house guest questions.
Mm-hmm.
But even in her diary room testimonials and how she has articulated how she's playing this game, it's almost like just dead air. Like there's nothing tangible that you're actually trying to do. It's just words and BB buzzwords that she'll throw out
She's
there.
got this blank smile, like stare, and then like it's almost like nothing's happening.
And so even if she's given the opportunity, I would so love for her to just wow us all and be like, this is why I did this, and this is how come this happened. But unfortunately, I just don't think that that's what we would get. That's what she would need to do on finale night to win, is really, really, really sell herself.
Yeah. Looking at Matt now, I do think he has a good chance depending on who he's sitting next to. To me, if it were Matt and Jag at the end, I really am not sure who would win. They both have a decent amount of competition wins under their belt. Jag has more, but that's not everything. I do think there's something to be said for the fact that Matt has never been on the block. He's had a good relationship with everyone in the house and really like maybe it's just his social game where he's just likable in that way. But even though he's been a competitive threat for a while now, he's never seen the block, which I think that's like a big, like points for Matt.
100%. That is a BB accomplishment that is hard to do and should be recognized. And so in that vein, we also have to recognize the fact that Bowie Jane had never been on the block either.
Yeah, I forgot.
So if we're going to give credit where credit's due.
How crazy is that?
I know. The fact that, but the reasons are different though, because Matt has remained a threat throughout the season, hasn't seen the block. The opposite is true for Bowie, where they just wanted to keep a non-threat in the game. Mm-hmm. So it is more impressive now that we talked through it.
Yeah.
that Matt stayed off the block.
That's so crazy. Bowie Jane has such like pawn energy to me, so it's crazy that she never was a pawn.
It was Felicia. Felicia was the pawn throughout the season. She saw the block almost every week after Cameron left, who was the perennial block star. And so, the fact that Bowie Jane never saw it is wild, but more impressive that Matt never did. I think he's got the most well-rounded game.
Agreed.
In the entire house.
Yeah. And then you look at Jag, who's obviously dominated competitions since the start, kind of. And he had this up and down roller coaster where he was sent home unanimously and then Matt saved him. Which some people could see as, wow, he really came back from nothing.
Yeah.
He also has more blood on his hands, for sure. And this newfound kind of like cocky attitude where he's like, I got the whole game figured out. He even mentioned something to Cirie where he was like, it's crazy that the game is like over. And Cirie was like, hold on now. Like, we still got gaming to do.
No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, if the stars align, Jag, I think, is the clear-cut winner right now. But he's going to have to really do some dancing on finale night to get the jurors on his side because, like you said, he has had a lot of blood on his hands. He hasn't made the deep friendships and relationships that I believe Matt has had in this game. And so it's really going to take a lot of explaining to for the jury to understand why he did the things that he did and made the moves that he made.
Yeah, I think it will all just come down to what the jury really chooses to focus on and they choose to respect in terms of like game moves. And the next time we will be back at this desk will be after the finale. So we will find
Crazy.
out who won.
I can't believe how fast this season has gone.
I know.
It's so sad. Almost 100 days ago was like Christmas, because every new BB season feels like a new beginning, and now it's coming to an end. It's so sad, but I cannot wait to see who wins.
Can't wait to see how it wraps up. We'll be here to kind of analyze everything, talk about how the whole season went, our favorite moments, all that jazz. And
until then, who would have guessed that the question we are left with is, what will Bowie Jane do?
It all comes back to that. We'll see you next time.